So just 2 days to reflect, but just maybe just opening remarks on the season, maybe the disappointment of not being in the.
Definitely a huge disappointment. This team's been playoff bound for a long time, obviously, and we have high expectations here going into every season. With making playoffs first and foremost and giving yourself a chance in the playoffs. And we failed that. We didn't play well enough as a team. That's really what it boils down to. We've always been a team here in the sum of our parts so much. That's how we're built. And we just didn't manage that well enough as a coaching staff and as players. And we got to do a better job of it next year.
Well, Falk mentioned he was like the first guy we talked to that he thought, and maybe not in big ways, but just he thought maybe some of the professionalism and the little details, he could see it slip. Do you?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a big part of it. Details and little things are very important to being a solid team, and it goes a long way to win into winning. And that starts in the summertime. So what you're doing in the summer, from a training standpoint and being ready to go at training camp, we got to have a hard camp, we got to have a competitive camp, and that's going to lead into the season.
Right, a couple months ago, you mentioned the 8-game losing streak. You said there are also contract things that were going on. Like obviously the young guys get new contracts. Will it be beneficial to start a season? No contract issues. Everybody knows where they're kind of slotted, as opposed to the stuff you dealt with.
Well, that does play into it, but that's excuses too, in my opinion. So, people get paid and they deserve to get paid. That's why they get paid. And other guys, whatever contracts, it's a cap era, and not everybody's going to get the contract. And that's, for me, that's an excuse not to be a good team. You should be happy for a person that gets a contract, not disappointed in them. Everybody plays the game because they love the game, but they also want to get paid. That's part of it. We all know that. So I'm not gonna really say that was the big issue. That's an excuse.
Chief, you lost some coaches. You got some vacancies. How much influence do you think you're going to have on adding some new assistants, and what are you going to be looking for specifically? What do you want in an assistant coach?
Well, obviously, Doug and I and management, and we all have an influence on what kind of a coach we need going forward, what's best for the team. It's tough to lose coaches, and that's what happens, whether it would have been me or whoever, when you don't do well. That's what happens. You move on from coaches, and you got to make change. It's tough. It's not good feeling. I've been with Rhino for a long time. I got tons of respect for him, tons of respect for Craig McTavish, I feel responsible for them not being here.
Do you anticipate hiring 2 new assistants or just one, and kind of moving the responsibility?
That'll be determined. Obviously, we need a D coach, and that's really important. I'm sure we'll have talks here about what we want to do. Other than that,
in terms of the D2, what do you want to do to get it back? I mean, guys talked about being tighter, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Scheme-wise, whatever. What do you need to change to get it back?
mindset more than scheme-wise. I don't think systems are systems. Everybody has their own system, and it's about a mentality for me. The D, being aggressive, anticipating, working together. But the forwards are a big part of it too. Like, I felt like our forwards probably didn't do enough to help our D out. There's a lot of times. So it goes both ways. And again, that's what I'm talking about, team, You can't just, the D weren't good, or that. No, it's not like that. It's everybody. Goaltenders, defense, forwards. It's all working together and playing together and helping each other out. It's not about the schemes, It's just about it's a mindset.
And
And it's about and it's about playing for each other, and that's a team. You know, when you care about your teammate, and you don't want to let them hang out to dry. You know, you turn a puck over. You know, how hard are you working back? You know, because you turned it over to help that guy out now, and I didn't feel that we had enough of that.
And how about like special teams? How do you get special?
Yeah,
teams?
I listen. The penalty kill did not get off to the right foot. We actually got it going in the right direction for a long time. It's hard to climb back up when you start off that bad, but we were really trending in the right direction, and I believe that we'll get that penalty kill straightened out. It's again, it's a mindset. It's about being aggressive and knowing your job. And I felt the PK dropped. We obviously moved on from some guys with trades. And, you know, Bortz and Scandy were a big part of the penalty kill a year ago, which was very good. And we missed Scandy this year, but again, that happens. Injuries happen, and other guys have to step up and do the job. You know, it's like defense. It's a mindset. It's hard to do penalty killing. It's a tough job. Defending's a tough job. Everybody wants to play with the puck and make plays and score goals. But defense is very important, and it's hard to win without playing good defense. And penalty kill, you know, they go hand in hand.
In power play, you guys were up there for most of the season, but then
Yeah.
a late drop-off.
Dropped off. We personnel a little bit. But you know, power play's been good here for a long time, and I don't see an issue. We have new players that we had on the PP there towards down the stretch or the last couple of months. And I think it's a learning process for some of those guys, how we do things on the PP here. And I do believe, like, you know, guys are going to take another step next year. Some young guys on the power play, you know, are going to be better.
You guys
Yeah,
showed some positive signs late in the season. You got a lot of flexibility from a front office perspective in the offseason. Do you feel like you're in a positive mindset that you can turn this ship around pretty quickly?
Well, I think that everybody's on board with turning it around, and that's the key. Players, management, coaches. We all know what we got to do to turn it around. So, you know, everybody's really disappointed, you know. And that disappointment's going to carry over a little bit in the off seasons here, and guys are going to work at it to come back and you know, regain that form again. You know, regain that Blues style of play that we had for so long.
Do you have like a step one in mind of how that process gets going? And maybe just
Well, I think the exit meetings here is step one. I believe, like, obviously we had an exit meeting with the whole team. Doug Armstrong talked, I talked. It's not always fun talk, for sure. It's stuff that guys don't like hearing, and it's not easy, but it's important. And then individual meetings with players from management and myself, what's expected of them next year.
Greg, you don't have a lot of flexibility, again, under the cap moving forward, so how important is it for you to hammer home to these guys that if there's going to be change and you're going to get this thing turned around, the onus is going to fall on the majority of that group in there?
100%. So, you know, our veterans got to be better, okay? And our young guys got to be better. And young guys got to take more steps in improving. And that starts in the off season with their training and coming in camp in great shape and ready to take another step.
Chief, you did two young guys that signed a big contract, Thomas and Kyra. What do you want to see out of them going into next season? What kind of off seasons do you want them to have?
Yeah, well, they got to have great off seasons with their training and obviously on ice stuff too, working at their game, getting better. For me, if you want to be a real good team and you want to have an opportunity to win, you have to sacrifice as an offensive player sometimes, and you got to do other things, you know, out on the ice that shows a sacrifice to your teammates, and it might hurt you on the stat wise with points a little bit, but what's more important is winning. And if we want to be a championship team, we want to get in the playoffs next year, they got to make sacrifices that way.
It seems like Kyra wants to be a good defensive player. Do you sense that, or does he still have to
No, no.
buy in a little bit?
I do sense that, and I thought he made steps towards it. I know his plus minus doesn't show that, and that's not all. That's not the end to be all plus minus. Things happen sometimes, but he has the ability to do it. There's no doubt about it. The guy's got talent, tons of talent, and the way he skates, from the checking side of things, he can do it because he can skate. All you got to do is just put the work in, and he wants to do that. And it's a mindset again. I keep going back to that. And he's never had to really do that, but he has to do it now. This is the NHL. It's not junior, and I believe he will take them steps. He's a good kid. He wants to learn. He wants to be better, and he will. And along with Robbie Thomas.
So along those lines, specifically, how does Jordan Kaiser get better? And obviously he can train, but how does he get better where he knows what to do in the D zone and he can go in the O zone and not turn it over?
Turnovers happen. Every team, Connor McDavid, offensive guys will turn the puck over. They're trying to do things, which they should, to score goals and to make plays. But it's what you do when you turn it over. Okay? Do you wait there and see what happens, or do you immediately have the reaction in your mind that I gotta get back and check now. I gotta get that puck back. And that's what he has to do. And on my side of things as a coach, we have to work at that and practice more.
How did you
I know
feel
you're
about
saying-
Bushnevich at center, and does that continue over the summer?
Bucci, I thought, did a great job at center for a guy that, has not played center since he was a kid, I guess. I don't know. But I thought he did a pretty good job. I know the face-offs weren't great, and that's something that, going forward, I talked to him about keep working on it, whether you're at center or not, because it's always nice to have a couple guys that could take draws on each line. And so he will continue to do that. But for me, I was happy, from a analytics standpoint, his analytics were excellent, when you look at both sides of the puck. It maybe hurt his scoring a little bit, but other than that, he was putting other people in position to produce, which was good. He's a good playmaker. And on the other side of things, he was excellent defensively.
Chief, unless you have all A's, you'll have a new captain next year. What kind of qualities do you look for?
You have to be an extremely hard worker, and you got to be a highly competitive person to be a captain, because you cannot be a captain if you can't lead by example on the ice or off the ice. Those are the two biggest qualities.
Are there things you want to get better at as a coach?
Sure, I always try to get better. I gotta do a better job of trying to get to our younger players and help them grow as players, but also at the same time, keep that core veteran group motivated.
Maybe hanging out with the media more, or?
Yeah, could do that. Maybe we go for lunch.
Is it,
It's hard though when I get a free lunch here every day, unless you guys are gonna buy.
Yeah, he will.
is it automatic, it's not like Kyrie scored 50 some odd goals, he had 37. Does he have to sacrifice offense to become a better defensive player, or can he still improve even where he's at offensively right now and still become a better two-way player?
Oh, for sure. The guy's got potential. The ceiling, I don't know where it's at. I've told you that before. I mean, the way that the kid can skate and shoot, and the speed. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying he can't score 50 goals and be a real good two-way player. That's unreal. I mean, but in doing that, like I said, he has to react quicker defensively. He has to want to get back quicker. He's got to want to defend harder and stronger. All those little things like that. Now, if he gets to that point, and with his speed to strip people from pucks and things like that, he's going to get other opportunities going the other way.
Greg, there wasn't a ton of changes from last year to this year. There were some, but not too many. And I'm curious, just when you talk about the mindset, when did you start feeling that maybe slip, and why do you think that started slipping?
I felt early on in the season I didn't like the first couple games even we played. We weren't very good, but we won. Our goalie, Binner, was excellent. We played an excellent game in Edmonton. The Winnipeg game really, I thought, set us back. You know, the way we went out in that third period in Winnipeg, Greiser was in net. We didn't go out there to win the game. Like, we went out there and just let them come at us and end up losing 4-2 or I can't remember the score. And, you know, we went on a tough losing streak after that. And I thought that really affected the team going forward. I know we won 7 in a row after that, but I still didn't feel when we won 7 in a row that we deserved to win 7 in a row. I didn't feel we were playing that well. So, you know, I would say, like the start of the season, it just didn't have a good feel.
You talked a lot about Parayko this year. What are some of the points of emphasis for him going into the summer?
Yeah, I thought that down the stretch, I thought he was a lot more aggressive with his game. You know, I've said it 100 times, when he's thinking too much and not just using his feet and skating and closing plays out and being physical, again, he agreed with me. He was overthinking things too much and trying to be too safe, and there's no reason for him to ever play that way. Like, he's got all the abilities to be a great defender and produce for us offensively with his feet and his shot, and he'll be a much better player next year.
It seems like, though, personality-wise, he's kind of that personality that maybe is a deep thinker. Is there a way to leave that, like,
well, I
don't bring
think
that
when you put your skates on, like I always said, like, you got to have a little bit of a switch, you know. Like when I played, you know, I didn't want to go out and do what I had to do every night to be in the NHL and be successful, because it's not a fun job. But I knew when I put my skates on that I had to turn a switch on. This is what I got to do tonight. And I think that's similar with him. Like, you know, he's a great guy. We all know that. He's the type of guy you want to be around 24/7. But when he puts his skates on, he's got to get that switch and say, "Listen, I got to be a tough defenseman tonight," you know. And I'm not talking about fighting and things like that. Talking about just defending, being hard to play against, being hard at our net, that type of stuff.
Part of that is just trusting your instincts. I mean, these guys are
Yeah,
all great
definitely.
athletes. They've all had success.
If you overthink the game and you don't just go out and play and be aggressive, and you start to overthink things, you start to second guess yourself. You can't play that way.
Greg, with Jordan,
Anything final?
with Benner, 61 games, it's a lot in
Lot
today's
of
game.
games.
Even the numbers may not show it, but did he show you anything?
Oh, he fought all year. I don't ever question Benner's fight. Never have, never will. He's a competitive guy that has had to earn everything he's gotten. You know, he spent a number of years in the minors and came up, won a cup here. It's a lot of games. I'd like to see that drop a little bit. I don't know where it's at right now, but again, like he started the season off really well. Unlike our team, it slipped a bit on him, and he probably takes too much on himself instead of just letting the game come to him. He wants to go out and do it because he wants to win for the team, and he's just got to do his job. Does that make sense? Like, you can't do everybody's job, and you know that goes along for everybody. Everybody just do your job out there, and everything will take care of itself. You know.
So is that the sole reason though why his numbers were reflected the way they were? Because maybe he was trying to do somebody else's?
No, I mean, I just think it got in his head a little bit, maybe, you know, that things weren't going well with the team, and then it's his game slipped a little bit, you know. I thought he regained it back, though. You know, he's a fighter. He's going to regain it back. So, last person I'm worried about is Bennington.